The human ship moved silently through deep space. It was not large. It was not covered in bright weapons. To anyone watching, it looked old, simple, and alone. Its name was HSS Wayfarer. Inside the ship, the lights were low. The crew worked calmly. No one rushed. No one shouted. Every screen showed clean data and quiet signals. Captain Elias Rowan stood at the center of the bridge, his hands behind his back, his eyes fixed on the stars ahead. They were entering the Carthax corridor. Every species in the galaxy knew this place. No trade ships passed through it. No explorers dared to enter. The corridor was controlled by the Xeran Dominion, an ancient alien empire known for one thing: they never allowed ships to leave once they entered. The Xerans called it protected space. Others called it a graveyard. The Wayfarer crossed the invisible border. For 5 seconds nothing happened. Then space itself seemed to tear open. One by one massive alien warships appeared. First 10. Then 50. Then hundreds. They formed a perfect circle around the human ship, their hulls glowing with power, their weapons locking into place. The Wayfarer was completely surrounded. On the Xeran flagship, High Commander Vorthak watched the human ship on a massive display. His many eyes narrowed with interest, then amusement. "A single human vessel," he said with a low clicking laugh. "How disappointing." Other Xeran officers laughed with him. The human ship was tiny compared to their fleet. It had no escort, no backup, no visible heavy weapons. "This will be quick," Vorthak said. "Open a channel." A powerful transmission crossed space. "Unknown human vessel," the message boomed. "You have entered Xeran Dominion territory. Power down your engines. Lower your shields. Prepare to surrender." The message echoed inside the Wayfarer. Captain Rowan did not react. He did not answer. He simply looked at his navigation officer. "Hold course," he said calmly. The ship continued forward, slow and steady, as if the alien fleet did not exist. Back on the Xeran flagship, silence filled the command chamber. "They ignore us?" an officer asked. Vorthak's amusement faded slightly. "Send it again," he ordered. Louder. The second message came, sharper and more threatening. "Human ship, you are surrounded. Resistance is meaningless. Surrender now." Still no reply. The Xerans began to feel something unfamiliar. Confusion. The human ship did not fire. It did not turn. It did not accelerate. It simply moved forward. One Xeran commander leaned closer to his console. "Scans show no fear signals. No distress. Crew heart rates are stable." Vorthak frowned. "Impossible." Humans were known in the galaxy. They were brave, yes, but also emotional. They panicked. They begged. They negotiated. The ship did none of that. Vorthak straightened his posture. "Very well. Show them we are serious." A Xeran cruiser moved forward. Its massive cannons charged, glowing with deadly energy. The Xeran commander spoke again. "Human vessel, this is your final warning. Stop now or be destroyed." On the Wayfarer, the bridge remained quiet. Captain Rowan turned slightly. "Time?" he asked. A calm female voice answered, "All systems ready, Captain. Waiting for confirmation." "Good," Rowan said. The alien cruiser fired. A blinding beam of energy ripped through space, aimed directly at the human ship. Every Xeran commander watched closely. The beam struck the Wayfarer's shields. Light exploded outward. For a moment, the human ship vanished inside the blast. The Xerans cheered. But when the light faded, the Wayfarer was still there. Not damaged. Not slowed. Not even shaken. The shield shimmered once and then went quiet again. The Xeran command chamber fell silent. That was a full-power shot," an officer whispered. Vorthak felt anger rise. "How?" he growled. "Human shields are not that strong." The Wayfarer finally changed behavior. It stopped. For the first time since entering the corridor, the human ship halted its engines. The Xerans leaned forward. At last, a message came from the human ship. The channel opened. The voice that filled the chamber was calm, controlled, almost bored. "This is Captain Elias Rowan of the human stellar ship Wayfarer. No fear. No shaking. You are obstructing a lawful human transit route." The Xerans stared in disbelief. Vorthak laughed, sharp and loud. "Lawful. This space belongs to us." Rowan continued, unbothered. "You have one chance to move your fleet and stand down." The Xeran officers erupted in laughter. "You hear that?" one said. "The human threatens us." Vorthak leaned forward, his eyes burning. "Human captain," he replied, "you are surrounded by the greatest fleet in this sector. Your ship is alone. You will surrender. There was a pause. Then Rowan spoke again. Negative. The single word echoed through the Zirin chamber. Vortak's amusement turned to rage. Enough, he said. Fire a full barrage. End this. Across space, hundreds of Zirin ships charged their weapons. Energy built like a storm. On the Wayfarer, alarms did not sound. Captain Rowan did not raise his voice. Begin Phase 1, he said. Deep inside the human ship, systems awakened. Systems no alien scanner could detect. Space around the Wayfarer bent slightly like heat above fire. Time itself seemed to hesitate. The Zirin fleet fired. Hundreds of beams. Missiles. Plasma waves. They rushed toward the human ship all at once. Then, they stopped. Frozen in space. Every Zirin weapon hung motionless, meters from the Wayfarer's hull. The Zirin commanders screamed in confusion. What is happening? Why aren't the weapons moving? Restart systems. Nothing worked. Captain Rowan watched the frozen storm outside his ship. Broadcast channel, he said. The message went out, not just to the Zirins but to every listening post nearby. This is your final warning. The Zirins realized too late. They had not trapped the human ship. They had trapped themselves. And the galaxy was about to learn why humanity was never meant to be cornered. Silence ruled the battlefield. Hundreds of Zirin weapons hung frozen in space, glowing with deadly power but unable to move even a single meter closer to the human ship. Beams of energy, plasma bolts, and missiles were trapped like insects in amber. On the Zirin flagship, panic spread fast. Why are the weapons not moving? One officer shouted. Restart the firing systems, another cried. Console screens flashed warnings. Systems showed green, then red, then nothing at all. Commands were sent again and again, but space itself refused to obey them. High Commander Vortak stood frozen, staring at the impossible sight before him. His claws dug into the metal floor. This violates known physics, he hissed. Outside, the human ship HSS Wayfarer sat calmly at the center of the storm. Its hull showed no damage. Its shields did not glow. It looked untouched, like the universe itself had chosen to protect it. Vortak forced himself to breathe slowly. Open a channel, he said at last. The communication line connected. Captain Elias Rowan appeared on the screen, standing straight, his expression calm and controlled. Behind him, human officers worked silently, their movements precise and relaxed. Vortak tried to hide his fear behind anger. What trick is this, human? He demanded. Release our weapons at once. Rowan tilted his head slightly. This is not a trick, he said. This is restraint. The Zirin officers muttered in confusion. Vortak laughed nervously. You expect us to believe one ship can stop an entire fleet? Rowan's eyes remained steady. I don't expect you to believe, he replied. I expect you to listen. Vortak slammed a claw on his command platform. You are in no position to make demands, he roared. Disable this effect immediately or we will. Or you will what? Rowan interrupted, his voice still calm. The words hit harder than any weapon. Vortak hesitated. Rowan continued. You surrounded a human ship. You demanded surrender. You fired first. He paused. That was your mistake. The Zirin command chamber fell quiet. Other Zirin fleets across the sector were watching now. Signals from distant systems showed that many species had noticed the strange energy readings. No one had ever seen weapons frozen mid-attack. Rowan spoke again, his voice now carrying across open galactic channels. Humanity learned long ago, he said, that power does not always roar. Sometimes it waits. Vortak clenched his claws. You think this display frightens us? He said. We have ruled this region for centuries. Rowan nodded once. Yes, he said. And you have grown comfortable. Behind Rowan, a human officer spoke quietly. Phase stability holding, Captain. All hostile vectors contained. Thank you, Rowan replied. Vortak noticed the calm coordination. No shouting. No panic. No celebration. These humans were not reacting. They were executing a plan. What do you want? Vortak finally asked. Rowan answered without hesitation. Withdraw your fleet, he said. Release control of this corridor. And never threaten the human vessel again. The Zirin officers erupted in angry voices. This is an insult. He dares command us. Destroy him. Vortak raised a claw to silence them. You ask us to abandon territory we claimed long before your species left its home system, he said coldly. Rowan's eyes hardened slightly. You did not claim it, he replied. You took it. The Zirin commander sneered. Power decides ownership. Rowan nodded slowly. Then watched closely. He turned slightly and gave a single command. Demonstration. The Wayfarer's hull emitted no light. No visible weapon moved. Yet space itself shifted. One frozen Zirin missile, just one, began to vibrate. Then it disappeared. Not exploded. Gone. The Zirin system screamed alerts. What happened to the missile? It vanished from all sensors. There was no energy release. Rowan spoke calmly. That projectile has been removed from local space, he explained. It no longer exists in your reality. Vortak's confidence cracked. You erased it? He whispered. Yes, Rowan said. Another missile vanished. Then another. Slowly, one by one, the frozen weapons began to disappear. The Zirin fleet watched helplessly as their entire attack was quietly undone. Rowan continued speaking, his words cold and clear. You believed humanity was weak because we did not conquer, he said. You believed silence meant fear. He looked directly into Vortak's eyes. It meant patience. Vortak felt something he had not felt in centuries. Fear. If you have such power, Vortak said carefully, why hide it? Rowan's answer was simple. Because power invites challenge, he said. And we only respond when forced. The last Zirin weapon vanished. Space returned to normal. But the fear did not. Human sensors locked onto Zirin command ships. Not aggressively but precisely. Every commander knew they were exposed. Rowan leaned slightly forward. This corridor is now under human protection, he said. Any attempt to contest it will be answered. Vortak struggled for control. You expect us to retreat and accept humiliation? Rowan shook his head. I expect you to survive, he said. The words carried weight. The Zirin officers looked to Vortak. Their empire had never backed down before. But never before had they faced something like this. Vortak swallowed his pride. All ships, he said slowly, prepare to disengage. Murmurs filled the chamber. Commander. This will weaken our control. Vortak silenced them. We will withdraw, he said. The Zirin fleet began to pull back, opening gaps in the massive formation. The Wayfarer did not pursue. It did not threaten. It simply watched. As the Zirin ships retreated, signals spread across the galaxy. Other species began to whisper. The humans had not just defended themselves. They had rewritten the balance of power. Captain Rowan turned away from the screen. End broadcast, he said. The channel closed. But the message had already been delivered. In that moment, the Zirin Dominion made the greatest mistake in its history. They showed the galaxy that humanity was not weak. And they learned too late. Humanity does not surrender. The Zirin fleet pulled back slowly. Huge warships turned away from the human vessel, their engines glowing as they created distance. But even as they retreated, fear followed them. No commander spoke. No one celebrated survival. Every Zirin officer knew the truth. They had been spared. And that was more terrifying than destruction. On the bridge of the HSS Wayfarer, Captain Elias Rowan watched the alien ships move away. His face showed no pride, no anger. Only focus. Status, he said. All hostile weapons removed from local space, the science officer replied. Phase field stable. No counteractions detected. Good, Rowan said. Maintain position. The Wayfarer remained still like a silent judge in the center of the corridor. Far across the galaxy, something else was happening. Sensors belonging to other civilizations began recording impossible data. Frozen weapons. Vanishing matter. Space bending without energy spikes. The information spread fast. Whispers turned into fear. On the Zirin flagship, High Commander Vortak struggled to maintain order. His empire had never retreated from a single ship before. Never. Long-range scans, he demanded. I want to know what that human vessel is capable of. A nervous officer responded, Commander, our scans cannot read it properly. Its systems appear layered. When we focus on one signal, another hides beneath it. Vortak clenched his claws. How advanced are they? He whispered. No one answered. Then alarms sounded again. Commander, the human ship is transmitting. Vortak's eyes widened. On screen. Captain Rowan appeared once more. But this time he was not speaking only to the Zirins. The broadcast channel was open to the entire sector. Attention, Rowan said calmly. This message is for all fleets observing. Across dozens of systems, alien leaders watched. Rowan continued. Humanity has remained quiet for a long time, he said. Not because we were weak, but because we were learning. Images appeared beside him. Old human ships being destroyed, colonies abandoned, early treaties broken by alien powers. This corridor, Rowan said, was once used by human explorers. They were attacked, taken, erased. The Zirans shifted uncomfortably. We did not forget, Rowan went on. We prepared. Vorthak interrupted angrily. You claim victimhood to justify threat, he said. Typical. Rowan looked at him. This is not a threat, he replied. This is a response. Behind Rowan, the Wayfarer's system shifted again. Space trembled. The Ziran fleet detected a new energy field expanding outward from the human ship. It moved slowly but steadily, passing through Ziran vessels without damage. What is it doing? An officer cried. No damage reports, another said. But our weapons are offline. Vorthak's breath caught. Check propulsion. Engines responding at minimum capacity only. The Ziran ships were not disabled, but they were restrained, like animals held on invisible chains. Rowan spoke again. This field limits hostile action, he explained. You can leave. You can survive. But you cannot attack. Vorthak stared at the screen. You could have destroyed us, he said quietly. Yes, Rowan agreed. Then why didn't you? Vorthak asked. Rowan paused. Because humanity does not rule through fear, he said. We rule through consequence. The words echoed across listening stations. Other species felt something shift deep inside their political cores. If humans could do this to the Zirans, what else could they do? Suddenly, a Ziran cruiser panicked. Its captain, driven by pride and terror, overrode safety limits and fired a short-range weapon toward the Wayfarer. The shot barely left the hull. It vanished instantly. But this time the response was different. The Wayfarer moved. For the first time, the human ship advanced. It did not rush. It glided forward, calm and unstoppable. The Ziran cruiser shook violently. Its systems shut down one by one. Shields collapsed. Engines died. The ship did not explode. It was left powerless. Rowan's voice returned, now colder. That action was recorded, he said. This vessel will be removed. A section of space opened beneath the Ziran cruiser. Not a hole, not a tear, but an absence. The cruiser fell into nothing. Gone. Every Ziran commander froze. Rowan continued. No more warnings. The field expanded slightly. Vorthak lowered his head. Human captain, he said, his voice heavy. We acknowledge your power. Rowan said nothing. Vorthak forced the words out. The Ziran Dominion withdraws all claims to this corridor. The silence that followed was heavy. Across the galaxy, ancient powers listened in shock. Humanity had not conquered. Humanity had commanded surrender, without asking for it. Rowan nodded once. Wise, he said. The field around the Ziran fleet loosened. Leave, Rowan ordered. The Ziran ships fled. Not in formation. Not with pride. They escaped. When the last Ziran signal vanished, the corridor became quiet again. But the galaxy was no longer the same. On the Wayfarer's bridge, a junior officer finally spoke. Captain, the entire sector is watching us. Rowan looked at the stars. Let them, he said. What happens now? The officer asked. Rowan's voice was steady. Now, he said, they decide how to treat humanity. He turned toward his crew. Prepare the next phase. Yes, Captain. As the Wayfarer powered its deeper systems, distant civilizations began to understand. The humans were not reacting to the galaxy anymore. They were shaping it. And this was only the beginning. The Carthax corridor was silent again. No Ziran ships remained. No weapons floated in space. Only distant stars and the quiet presence of the HSS Wayfarer filled the void. But the galaxy was not calm. Across dozens of systems, emergency councils were forming. Ancient species that had ruled space for thousands of years watched the recordings again and again. Frozen weapons. Vanishing ships. Space bending around a single human vessel. No one understood it. And that scared them. On the Wayfarer's bridge, Captain Elias Rowan stood still as data streams flowed across the main screen. Incoming priority transmissions, the communications officer said. Multiple civilizations requesting explanation. Rowan nodded slowly. Open a public channel, he said. Limited access. The channel activated. Suddenly, faces filled the screen. Alien leaders. Military commanders. Artificial minds. Beings of light and metal. All watching the human captain with careful eyes. Rowan spoke calmly. You have questions, he said. I will answer some of them. A tall, crystal-skinned alien spoke first. You disabled an entire empire's fleet without open warfare, it said. How? Rowan folded his hands behind his back. By understanding space better than you do, he replied. Murmurs spread across the channel. Another voice spoke, sharp and suspicious. Humans were not advanced when we first encountered you. You lost colonies. You retreated. How did you change so much? Rowan's eyes darkened slightly. We learned from every loss, he said. While others expanded, we studied. Images appeared on the screen. Human research stations hidden inside dead stars. Fleets moving without signals. Scientists working in silence. Generations trained not for conquest, but for defense. We mapped how empires think, Rowan continued. How they threaten. How they trap. How they expect surrender. The listeners grew quiet. A machine intelligence asked, why hide this power? Rowan answered without hesitation. Because revealing power too early invites destruction, he said. Humanity chose survival over pride. The channel flickered as new data appeared. Records of treaties broken by alien empires, warnings ignored, human worlds abandoned after betrayal. We trusted once, Rowan said. We paid the price. A heavy silence followed. High Commander Vortak appeared on the channel, his image weaker now, his posture lowered. You planned this, Vortak said slowly. The corridor. The trap. Rowan met his gaze. Yes, he said. This corridor was chosen carefully. Gasps echoed. You entered human defensive territory, Rowan continued. You thought you surrounded us. He paused. You revealed your full strength. Vortak understood. You wanted us to show our fleet, he said quietly. Rowan nodded. Now the galaxy knows what intimidation looks like, he said. And what answers it receives. The crystal-skinned leader spoke again. Is humanity preparing to rule the galaxy? Rowan shook his head. No, he said. We are preparing to protect ourselves. The words carried weight. A reptilian warlord leaned forward. And if another empire does what the Zirans did? Rowan's voice hardened. Then the response will be faster, he said. And final. The channel went silent. One by one, alien leaders began to disconnect. They had learned enough. The Wayfarer ended the transmission. Inside the ship, deeper systems awakened. Areas sealed long ago began to glow softly. Symbols older than human spaceflight lit up across hidden panels. A senior officer approached Rowan. Captain, she said quietly, Guardian Network reports ready status. Rowan closed his eyes for a moment. Confirmed? He asked. Yes. Humanity-wide, she replied. Rowan opened his eyes. Then history just changed, he said. Far away inside human space, something ancient stirred. Hidden ships that had never seen battle powered up. Stations long believed abandoned activated their course. Artificial intelligences older than most alien civilizations came online. Humanity was no longer hiding. On a distant alien world, a young diplomat watched the broadcast replay. His hands trembled. They were never weak, he whispered. They were waiting. On another world, a war council disbanded in fear. Cancel all expansion near human space, an elder ordered. Immediately. Back on the Ziran homeworld, Vortak stood alone, staring at the stars. He had ruled through strength his entire life. Now he understood something new. Humans did not conquer space. They mastered it. On the Wayfarer, Captain Rowan looked at the corridor ahead. Set course, he said. For where? An officer asked. Rowan's answer was calm. For the next boundary, he said. Where humanity will be tested again. The ship moved forward, smooth and silent. Behind it, the galaxy reshaped its politics, its fears and its future. The truth was now known. Humanity was not a rising power. Humanity was a prepared one. And those who forgot that truth would not get a second warning. The Ziran Dominion had ruled through fear for centuries. Their fleets were everywhere. Their banners hung above conquered worlds. Entire species learned to bow before Ziran warships before they even learned the language. But fear is fragile. And fear breaks when something stronger appears. News of the Carthax corridor spread faster than any war fleet ever could. Not rumors. Not stories. Hard data. Recorded proof. Frozen weapons. Disabled armadas. A single human ship standing untouched. Across Ziran-controlled space, governors panicked. What if the humans come here? What if the Guardian ships are already watching us? What if resistance is useless? On the Zirin homeworld, emergency alarms rang without pause. The High Council gathered inside a massive stone chamber, its walls carved with symbols of conquest. High Commander Vorthak stood before them. "You failed," one council member said coldly. "You embarrassed the Dominion," said another. Vorthak did not argue. "We made a mistake," he said. "A fatal one." The council hissed in anger. "We have millions of ships," a warlord shouted. "We should strike now before the humans grow bolder." Vorthak raised his claw. "If we attack," he said quietly, "we will cease to exist." The room fell silent. "You did not see what I saw," Vorthak continued. "That ship did not fight us. It judged us." Some laughed nervously. "No empire falls because of one encounter," a council elder said. Vorthak looked at them with tired eyes. "Empires fall when fear changes direction," he replied. As if summoned by his words, alerts sounded across the chamber. "Report," a council member demanded. A technician spoke, his voice shaking. "Outer sectors are withdrawing from Dominion control," he said. "Local fleets are standing down." "What?" another shouted. "Merchant guilds are refusing Zirin escort," the technician continued. "They claim neutrality under human protection." The council erupted. "Lies. Threaten them. Send war fleets." But more alerts followed. Allied species are leaving the Dominion. Border worlds are declaring independence. Several fleets have powered down and surrendered to local authorities. Vorthak closed his eyes. It had begun. The Zirin Empire was collapsing, not from attack but from loss of belief. Across space, the HSS Wayfarer moved calmly through key regions. It did not fire. It did not invade. It appeared. That was enough. Every time the Wayfarer entered a system, Zirin forces retreated. Governors surrendered authority. Prison worlds opened their gates. The human ship transmitted one simple message everywhere it went. "You are free to choose." That was more powerful than any weapon. On a mining world once stripped by Zirin rule, workers watched the sky as the human ship passed overhead. "They're not attacking," one whispered. "They don't need to," another replied. On the Wayfarer's bridge, Captain Rowan studied reports. "No civilian casualties," an officer said. "Former Zirin forces standing down without resistance." Rowan nodded. "Good," he said. "That means they understand." "Understand what?" the officer asked. "That empires built on fear cannot survive truth," Rowan replied. Back on the Zirin homeworld, chaos grew. Riots erupted. Old enemies resurfaced. Long-silenced voices demanded freedom. The High Council met again, smaller now. Several members had fled. Others were silent. Vorthak stood once more before them. "It is over," he said. "We must surrender." The room erupted. "Surrender to humans? We are Zirin. We rule." Vorthak slammed his claw into the floor. "You ruled because no one could stop you," he said. "Now someone can." Silence returned. A final alert sounded. "The human ship has entered orbit," the technician whispered. Fear gripped the chamber. Outside, the Wayfarer hung above the planet, small, calm, unstoppable. A transmission opened automatically. Captain Rowan's image filled the chamber. "High Council of the Zirin Dominion," he said evenly. "Your fleets are grounded. Your allies have left. Your people are in unrest." He paused. "This empire is finished." A council elder stood slowly. "What do you want from us?" the elder asked. Rowan's answer was immediate. "End the Dominion," he said. "Release all controlled systems. Disband your military command." "And if we refuse?" another asked. Rowan's eyes hardened. "Then the Dominion ends without you." No threat. No anger. Just fact. The council broke. Some screamed. Some wept. Others simply lowered their heads. Vorthak stepped forward. "We accept," he said. Rowan nodded. "Wise," he replied. The transmission ended. Within hours, the Zirin Dominion formally dissolved. Military codes were shut down. War fleets were dismantled. Prison camps were opened. The galaxy watched in disbelief. An empire that lasted thousands of years fell in a single day. Not to war, but to humanity's presence. On the Wayfarer, a junior officer spoke softly. "Captain, we just ended an empire." Rowan looked at the stars. "No," he said. "They ended themselves." "What happens now?" the officer asked. Rowan turned. "Now," he said, "the galaxy decides whether it wants peace, or to test us next." The Wayfarer changed course. It did not head home. It headed deeper into unknown space. Behind it, old power structures crumbled. New alliances formed. Species once silent began to speak freely. The age of fear was ending. And the age of consequence had begun. The galaxy did not sleep after the fall of the Xeran Dominion. It watched. Systems once ruled by fear began to change overnight. War banners were taken down. Checkpoints were removed. Prison worlds opened their gates for the first time in generations. And everywhere the same question was whispered. What will humanity do next? The HSS Wayfarer moved quietly through space, no longer alone. It was not followed by fleets or guarded by escorts. Yet no ship dared approach it with hostile intent. Its reputation was enough. On free worlds, crowds gathered to watch the stars when the human ship passed. Some cheered. Some cried. Some simply stood in silence, unable to believe the empire that crushed them was gone. The Wayfarer never stopped. It observed. It recorded. It judged nothing. Inside the ship, Captain Elias Rowan reviewed reports from across the galaxy. Species long ignored were forming councils. Trade routes reopened without military escorts. Old enemies began speaking instead of fighting. Humanity had not taken control. But control had changed. Captain, the communications officer said, incoming request from the Interstellar Assembly. Rowan nodded. Put it through. The screen filled with familiar faces. Leaders who once ignored humans now waited patiently. A silver-skinned elder spoke. The Xeran Dominion is gone, it said. A power vacuum has formed. Chaos is possible. Rowan listened quietly. What role will humanity play? Another leader asked. Rowan answered carefully. Humanity will not rule, he said. We will observe. Murmurs spread. And if a new empire rises? A warlord asked. Rowan's eyes hardened slightly. Then it will rise knowing it is being watched, he replied. The meaning was clear. The assembly understood. The channel closed. Far away on a small human colony world, children watched the news feeds. They saw images of alien leaders speaking respectfully to human captains. One child asked, "Did we win a war?" An old teacher shook her head. "No," she said gently. "We ended one." In Xeran space, the former High Commander Vorthak stood alone on a balcony overlooking his capital. The skies were quiet now. No war fleets. No fear signals. He had lost everything. Yet for the first time he felt something close to peace. "You were right," he said quietly to the stars. "Fear does not last forever." On the Wayfarer, Rowan stood on the bridge, watching new star paths appear on the main display. "Guardian network status?" he asked. "Fully active," the officer replied. "Human space secure. Observation arrays deployed." Rowan nodded. "Good," he said. A junior officer hesitated before speaking. "Captain, do you think they hate us?" Rowan considered the question. "Some do," he said. "Some fear us. Some are grateful." He paused. "And some are learning." The ship adjusted its course again, moving toward the edge of known space. Not to conquer. To stand watch. Across the galaxy, stories spread. About the human ship that never fired first. About the empire that collapsed without a war. About a species that waited quietly while others grew loud. Humanity became known by many names. The Silent Guardians. The Watchers of the Corridor. The species you do not corner. Trade routes marked human-protected zones. Conflicts ended when human signals appeared nearby. Even ancient predators learned restraint. Because everyone understood one truth now. If humanity acted, it was already too late to stop them. On the bridge, the lights dimmed slightly as the Wayfarer entered a long jump. Captain Rowan took one last look at the stars behind them. "We never wanted this," he said quietly. The ship's AI replied softly, "But you were ready for it." Rowan nodded. "Yes," he said. "We were." The Wayfarer vanished into deep space. Behind it, the galaxy moved forward, changed forever. Not by fire. Not by conquest. But by a single moment when a human ship was surrounded, demanded to surrender. And humanity answered in a way no one would ever forget. Never corner a human. Never mistake silence for weakness. And never assume the galaxy belongs to those who shout the loudest. Because sometimes, the quiet ones are already in control.